G'day guys, Aaron here from Shooting Stuff Australia, and welcome back to one of our videos talking about what's going on in the industry. Once again, I'm joined with Jason from the Australian Hunting Podcast. Welcome back.
No worries, man. What's been going on?
Oh, not much. A bit rainy here today in Queensland, but not like we can go outside and do stuff, is it?
Nah, can't go fishing, can't go shooting. Pretty much can't do anything. We're just stuck in our homes, hence the reason why we're making these videos quite regularly.
Yeah, exactly. And before we get into today's interesting topic, could you please hit the subscribe button? Take the time to subscribe the channel. We're getting closer and closer every day to what I used to have before YouTube pulled my channel down. So I'm at 4,500 subscribers, so just need to get it up a little bit more. Also, you'll find Jason and me on Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon, so you can see us all there. The links are down below, of course, but the main thing is please hit that subscribe button and smash that like button. That will be really good. So today's subject, suppressors. It's come up yet again. There was a petition, another one, a couple of months ago, and it's all gone through the Parliament, and of course we got the response back that we all knew that we were going to get. So I'll leave it to Jason. He's just going to talk about the response letter. He's got that there in front of him.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about what we think about it.
Yeah, so before we probably get into it, mate, we probably should talk about just suppressors in general. You know, I mean, they're a really good tool for, sport shooters to use on ranges. You know, they're good for farmers. They're good for pretty much everything to reduce noise. Now, we pretty much know they don't reduce noise entirely, especially for things like large centre fires and stuff like that. It just takes that huge crack out of them. I just did a couple of interviews probably the last 6 months with a couple of English guys. I mean, I was talking to them about suppressors, and they've pretty much got suppressed every single rifle, every single firearm they've got. Just did an interview just a couple of days ago, when I released it on I think it was about the 15th, with a guy from New Zealand that makes YouTube videos as well on hunting. He's got a suppressor as well. And even after the law changes in New Zealand, they're still allowed to have suppressors because they realise how good of a tool they are, especially when you're at ranges. I mean, you know that we're always hearing, especially urban encroachment onto our ranges, where you might get someone new that comes into the area on a lifestyle block, and there's a gun range in the area, and they start complaining about gun noise, and then they try and shut us down based on excessive noise and things like this. So you also go into Europe, many places in Europe, it's almost mandatory to use a suppressor. They don't remove, all the noise at all. So thinking people are going to turn into, contract snipers and things like that is purely just ridiculous. But yeah, we'll go into. Now, this is from Queensland. So obviously there was a petition running around, guys, on Facebook, I think it was, and other avenues and platforms on social media, wanting to get suppressors in Queensland. And we've been trying this for, 20 years since 1996. So this was on the... Go on.
Actually, this isn't the first e-petition out for the government on suppressors. There's been several. I've signed and promoted about 4 or 5 of these so far, and written a ton of letters.
Yeah.
So, this isn't the first one.
Yeah, and I don't think this is the first one from Queensland. It's definitely not the first one from other states as well. So we go into it. This is the Minister for Police and Minister for Corrective Services, the Honourable Mark Ryan. So he's writing back to Mr. Neil Laurie, 16th of the 4th, 20. And he says, "Dear Mr. Laurie, I refer to your letter of 18th of March 2020 relating to the petition 3282-20 received by the Queensland Legislative Assembly regarding the reclassification of silencers from Category R weapons to Category A." I like how he calls them silencers. But anyway, the Queensland Police Service, QPS, has advised the Category R represents the most restricted weapon under Queensland's weapons licensing framework, and that this category includes silencers and other items made or used capable or being used or intended to be used for reducing the sound caused by discharging a firearm. Well, yeah, that's the whole point of the particular item that we want changed to Category A. Silencers have remained Category R since the modern category system was implemented following sweeping reforms to Australia's gun laws after Port Arthur tragedy in '96. In practice, this limits their possession to licensed armourers who repair weapons for official Commonwealth defence or Commonwealth and state policing purposes, or Queensland collectors who have the appropriate storage and licence can possess permanently deactivated silencers. Queensland remains committed to the spirit of the National Firearms Agreement. Therefore, in interest of safety,
Yeah.
I can advise there is no intention to remove silencers from Category R weapons at this time. Thank you. The Honourable Mark Ryan, Minister for Police and Minister for Corrective Services.
Well, that pretty much wraps it up. We're not getting them. And I can tell you now, there is no way in living hell we'll ever get suppressors, especially with an attitude like that with the government. And it's just not this government, it's every government. So I hate to say it. I wish there was a fighting chance we can get it. But as we've said before, it's easy to take stuff away. They're not going to give you back what they're taking away. And
Yeah.
it's all about vote rigging. What a better way of saying vote for me by saying, hey, we kept these deadly silencers out of the hands of the common man. Well, it's a great marketing ploy for them.
It's amazing how other countries can do this, not a problem, but Australia thinks it's, you know, some type of weapon. Like without a gun to screw it onto, it becomes some evil killing machine. I mean, this is what we keep talking about. We've been talking about this for a while, just about 1996 and stuff like that. And like we said before on previous shows, people think, you know, we need to maintain what we have, but we're not even maintaining what we have. And then people say, well, get involved in organisations, write letters, do petitions. Well, we've seen, you know what, actually, we've not had one successful petition ever on anything.
Exactly.
Anything.
And I know we've been giving the organisations a bit of a hard time lately, but quite frankly, they deserve it. I'm sorry. SSAA do absolutely nothing. Shooters Union talk it all up, and then when it came time for some form of legal action, they did a backflip because a lawyer told them not to. Now we have a Victorian organisation that's going to take up the fight for Queensland because Shooters Union bailed on us. I'm sorry, there's no easy way of saying it. They tried to, and we talked to them, and they tried working in with Shooters Union, and that all fell apart. So now Victoria is going to take the fight up for Queensland. Not on the suppressor thing just yet, but I think for the organisations, the best thing, this could be probably the best sort of, I don't know, what you'd call it, the thing they need to go after.
Test
case, yeah. This could be it. This is the one that we could really push on because we have so much documentation on what the suppressors can do for health and safety, for your hearing, for neighbours, for absolutely everything. Like I've used a lot of suppressors overseas. They take the recoil out of most guns. You can get, they can improve your accuracy, and they don't annoy people. It stops all the cracking, and it's still a thud, an absolute thud, but it's not a crack. It's sort of hard to explain for people who haven't used them.
Yeah.
And it sounds nothing like in the movies.
Yeah.
If you made a suppressed gun sound like in the movies, the bullet wouldn't even come out of the end of the barrel. It's that simple. It'd be that little powder in it. It's still more of a thud. It's not a crack for people who've never used one. And I find it a lot easier to shoot with them because they take the just that hard knock out of the gun. And and I found it actually tightens a lot of groups up. I don't know, because because the barrel is sort of extended. I reckon sometimes that can be a reason. But it's just more enjoyable shooting. And that's what shooting should be. Make it enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we all know that they give so much benefit, not only to the general community as well, by if people, you know, had to use them on ranges or would at least be expected to use them on a range or something like that. I mean, you wouldn't be expected to, but the more people we can get using suppressors for hearing protection, for the reducement of noise, especially surrounding hunting as well. You know, if you go onto a farm and you want to shoot a bunch of goats, you know, you really don't want to, you know, let everything know around you that you're there shooting goats, so you might have more of a chance on the other goats, for an example. So, and you know, someone was on my page too the other day, and this was in regards to, I'll just read it if I can. I've just got to scroll up, talking about how letter writing and stuff like that is just not working, and they just don't listen. So he said, no, they don't, which so obviously agrees with me. He goes, the only way we'll see change in this state is to vote for pro-firearm political parties where possible. Commence legal action to challenge the decisions of this oppressive government. Now, I agree with the second part of it about commencing legal action. That's the only way I see moving forward. You know, we've not, and if I said this to people, we've not achieved one single change to the National Firearms Agreement, and it's now 2020. That was 24 years ago, mate. 24 years ago. Not one change in any particular state helping out shooters with suppressors. No changes at all. And if you had to look at political parties, let me say one thing. If you had to look at political parties, the ones I consider actually pro-gun and like actually wanting to remove the NFA, to be honest, might be one or two in the whole of Australia. But let's say we classify all pro-gun parties as pro-gun. That's not the case. We both know that. There might be 8 of them. Okay, so let's say there's 8. That's 8 in 20 years, 24 years. I mean, that's what. So if we get another 8 in another 24 years, so I'll be close to being dead by that stage. I'm almost 40. What are we going to do? Well, and then another 8, another 24 years after that. It's just proven ineffective. I know, and people aren't voting for pro-gun parties. Me and Aaron still do. We vote for who we think is going to be the best person for the job at the time. And if that's someone, it's someone. If it's not someone, then I'm not going to vote for. I'm not going to give someone a vote just because they say they're pro-gun. They've actually got to demonstrate that through action. And like I said, letter writing is proven ineffective. Doing the what was it called again, Aaron? The change.org or whatever they are.
The main petitions is
petition. That's sorry, I lost my wording there. Petitions haven't worked. We've not had one successful petition in 24 years. So I don't know why people will keep doing these Facebook petitions. I know people don't want to hear that, but the reality is, instead of wasting time doing that, start pushing your organisations to take legal action on these matters. It's the only thing that's going to do anything. I mean, writing letters and doing petitions after petitions, and I've realised that too. Me and Aaron were pushing that stuff up to about probably 12 months ago as well. Get it on it, guys, get on it. And sometimes we still do share this stuff. But at the end of the day, we've not had one single change. And, if we've got 8 pro-gun people in 24 years representing us, mate, it'll be another 100 years before we can get enough people to be in a position to even remotely even do anything. And that's even if they do. And we have stagnated on the pro-gun vote. We definitely have. A lot of people out there still voting for Labor and Liberal for Christ's sake. I mean,
Mate, when the pro-gun parties I'm going to say it, Fixing Shooters, completely useless. They came out and agreed on national live TV. They support John Howard's gun bans. It was a good thing to get rid of semi-autos. They support the NFA. John Howard did a good thing. You can see it on the internet. It's all there to see. So I'm sorry. They will never get my vote after saying that whatsoever. It just shows what, just because you got shooting in your name of your political party doesn't mean you're pro-gun. That's simple.
It's interesting. I just like to see these guys just step up and, but if that's not what they believe in and they believe that's not the way forward, then that's up to their party to either change that, or if they don't want to change it, that's totally fine. And you're right, I couldn't support some that didn't want to get rid of the NFA or support suppressors. I mean, I saw yesterday people crowing about, in Victoria, about it's a win that, gun shops in Victoria have been opened up to farmers and primary producers. And whilst that's better than nothing, again, I spoke to the guys on my show probably about a week ago that I released the show. They can't survive on 5% trade. It's just madness. Sure, farmers and primary producers might be able to get ammunition. It's not going to help the gun shops, mate. That's just going to be a slower death. I mean, it's not even, I don't know, and you know that. There's gun shops that are basically not even opening the doors anyway to farmers or primary producers because it's just not worth them opening for the day to run air conditioning and things like that because they're just not making any money. So it's not a win. I can't believe organisations, when I read this yesterday from an organisation that said it was a win that Victoria had opened up their gun shops, primary producers, I thought, man, our standards have really dropped, man, have really, really dropped, considering that organisations are out there, or only one in particular, it was a Victorian one, saying that it's a win that we've opened it up to 5% trade. I mean, just madness, mate, absolute madness. Instead of starting legal action, they had to be left up to the National Shooting Council to start legal action in Queensland and WA, and they got like 1% of the members of these other organisations.
Yeah, well, basically the Shooters Union said it was all too hard because the lawyer told them that, so they're not going to do it. And they were going to fight.
Yeah, but let me say one thing on that, mate. Let me say one thing on that. They were talking about defamation. I'm just not sure why they were talking about defamation, because no one's talking about taking the government or the police to court over defamation. I just don't know where that's coming from. We're not interested in that. We're taking them to court to open gun shops and open our hunting, whether that's in Queensland, whether that's in New South Wales or Victoria or in WA. We're not interested in defamation. Why do we want to go for defamation? They're hard enough cases to win at the best of times. We're there to open gun shops and get our hunting back, not defamation.
Yeah, exactly. I was absolutely staggered. They talked the talk, we're going to do legal action. Then all of a sudden they said, this defamation, that's crybaby stuff. Defamation is for a bunch of crybabies, weak, thin-skinned people. I don't give a shit the government called us names. I want to see the gun shops open. I don't want to see them close. I don't want to see families losing their lifelong businesses. They've been in generations. And this whole thing, changing the subject totally, this whole gun shop closure thing in the 3 states, I can tell you now, this is a targeted thing to get some gun shops closed, to take some of them out of the market. There's no other way around it, because it's just, when you can go down to Bunnings or JB Hi-Fi and be crowded with hundreds of people shoved into the aisles that we've seen all over the internet, and just focus on gun shops, I'm sorry, this is a target to get some of them to close up shop.
Yeah. I mean, we can keep posting on Facebook. We can keep saying, vote for pro-gun politicians. Again, just look at the legislation. I'm not saying listen to us. You can, come to your own, whatever you think. But if you look at what legislation has been passed from pro-gun parties, or what the organisations have done, other than sending letters and saying, it's good that gun shops are open in Victoria, it's all a waste of time. Okay, that's fine. You can do that if you're doing the other things too, which is taking the legal action and going through the process. And like me and Aaron said, you'll always get praise from us if you're going to take that step. Win, lose or draw, I don't care. I'm not going to have a go at someone for wasting money or losing money because they lost. I mean, I'll be getting massive amounts of support from people like me and you. Doesn't matter which organisation or political party. The political parties don't have any money to take legal action. It's up to the organisations, mate. And people say anything else other than legal action, like I said before, it's pissing in people's pockets, man. Don't piss in my pocket. Just take legal action. That's all we want you to do. That's all you're there for. Take my money and start legal action, because we know petitions don't work. We've seen that. I don't know how many letters I've seen on suppressors or getting rid of registration or opening up certain types of things for shooters, mate. The result's always the same, because the government doesn't fear us. They don't care at all, because we don't do anything. We don't do anything. But if we now, during a pandemic, and all our gun shops are closed, right, and we're not going to do anything now, mate, the government must be just laughing at us, saying, look at these idiots. I mean, we're smashing them now and they still won't even bite our hand, or attempt to at least bark. They're not even barking. They put out posts on Facebook saying, well, we got access to 5% gun trade in Victoria. Sorry, not good enough. I've been doing this 10 years. Time for the crap is over. Just start the legal action sooner rather than later, please. And good that National Shooting Council has at least started that process. Where it will go, we don't know. We have to keep up and running and find out what's happening with that.
Exactly. At least if you try and you fail, at least you tried, and you'll get all my praise for trying, no matter who you are. I'll praise a WSAA if they tried and failed, if they really gave it a good go. And, and as we said before, and the amount of messages we got back after our last video, take the emotion out of it all. Sit back and just think for what it is. These letters don't work. Stop thinking you've got to do letters. They do so good. No, they don't. They get read by an assistant, filed, and dumped. That's basically it. Never to be said.
Or you get responses like this. Sorry, we're committed. So they're basically saying to you now, thank you for your petition. We don't care about your petition, and we're not going to do what you're asking us to do. And goodbye. So where do you go from here? What, you write another letter in 6 months trying to get suppressors legalized again? I mean, come on, guys. You know this. You just got to, like Aaron said, take the emotion out of it. Look at what legislation we've achieved over the last 24 years. And the answer is zero. That's just how it is. You can write into me if you want, AustralianHuntingPodcast@gmail.com. But like I said, if you look to your heart and you look at the facts on paper, you just know it's true. Like, it's sad, but true. And fighting for gun shops, the only way we're going to win gun shop opens is if they open up 100%. But even then, we haven't won anything. That just gets them back on normal trade, like I've said previously in our previous shows. They've lost 4 weeks' worth of trade. That could mean they've got to put off a worker or two to make up that profit, because they just can't manage going forward. So it's not a win, man. And 10%, opening up 5 to 10% trade to gun shops, mate, is not going to keep them in business. You know that. We're speaking to them. I've got another show coming up next week where I talk to another gun shop owner from Queensland, and same thing. They're not going to be able to survive on that. So
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I just really hope.
I don't know
Yeah.
what to do from here, man, other than
No.
legal action. There's nothing,
No.
just the time for talking is over, man. Like excuses, vote this, pro-gun that. Sure, okay, fine. Not doing anything. Again, show me the legislation where that's achieved anything. We used to post it up all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just sad that I wish I really wasted my time. I wish I was really pushing this legal action 5 to 10 years ago.
Exactly.
But it seems that things that we're saying seem to be resonating, not only with people, but we are getting some of the organisations to commence legal action. So the things we are saying seems to be echoing around the community because people just aren't accepting it anymore. We see messages on Facebook from on maybe that organisation's Facebook page. When's the legal action? When's the legal action? They're saying the same things of us. Where's our money going? When's the legal action starting?
Yeah.
Well, I'm interested in defamation. We're interested in legal action based on the closure of gun shops and, depending on which state you're in, to open up our hunting again.
Well, I've had reports today, not today, this week, that people are saying they've been asking their organisations, the two big ones here in Queensland, when are you going to start legal action? No more letters. It's not working. What are you going to do about it? And they're saying to me, that it's getting deleted. The posts are getting deleted.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Your own organisation you're asking results from just deletes your comments because they don't like what you say, yet you pay your membership fees. Unbelievable.
Yeah, well,
Unbelievable.
I'm just glad I don't belong to Shooters Union anymore or WSAA. I keep telling everyone, I get asked so many times a week, who should I belong to? Well, basically, you only belong to Shooters Union. You know they're not going to do anything. They've proved that by backflipping and saying that. They're there for a cheap reason to own a gun. That's it. No more. They just post a few posts and send some letters off, exactly like you and me do, but you don't have to pay us. And I tell them, go find an independent club. I found a small independent club here, not far from home. It takes 5 minutes to Google, and I found half a dozen clubs here that I can sign up to, and I can get my gun license through. So that's my advice. Stuff the organisations that is there for a recruitment drive to get more money and telling you what you want to hear. That's all this whole thing's been.
I hope we're going to be wrong. I hope I wake up tomorrow and either one of those organisations or anyone other than the Shooting Council, all they band together and say, no, let's start doing something. Let's do what the members want. I mean, and like I said, anything other than legal action, they're pissing in the wind. It's not going to do anything. We've seen that because as we just said, the legislation hasn't changed in 24 years. And I know people that message me, they love suppressors. They'd love that sort of thing. They'd love to get out there with some suppressors because they just work. It works for occupationally, hunting-wise, range-wise. They're just a really great addition to, our arsenal and being able to use them. Plus, it'll open up a market for Australian gun companies as well to be able to ship them in, or if not, make them here,
The taxes alone the government will make off it would be phenomenal. Like I've always said, if they got rid of the CAT C&D and let everyone get hold of the semi-autos, which has been proven all around the world, it's got nothing to do with safety. If they can let us have that, the amount of income they would make would be billions of dollars a year. Billions. You could almost run the entire fucking country off what they would make out of gun owners. But no, John Howard, he's our god. Sir Howard, he's done the right thing.
If we don't commence legal action,
so sick of hearing that shit.
Yeah, if we don't take legal action, what do people think is going to happen exactly? You think writing more letters and one day they're going to change their mind? They're not going to change their mind ever. No. And it was actually Aaron that, remember we used to talk probably a couple of years ago, and we don't want to be negative, but he used to tell me same thing. Well, I'm pushing this stuff. And it's probably not going to happen. So I've just got to accept that. But, then what's the point of, if we're not going to get any rights back or do anything, what's the point of voting for a pro-gun party? I might as well just chuck my vote in the bin because what's the point? Nothing's going to change. So it's just, what am I supposed to do?
Exactly.
Anyway,
that's
interesting topic for today about suppressors. Very, very valuable item. I'd love to get my hands on a suppressor. It should probably suppress all my rifles. Maybe if I went hunting or wanted to keep weight down or length of the gun, you might put a muzzle brake on or something. But geez, I'd be using suppressors for sure, like 100%.
That's probably, apart from semi-autos, that's the next thing I miss with my shooting in Australia. Is no suppressors.
And I thought, what, Aaron, if one thing, fair enough, semi-autos might be way down the track if probably based on this, never at all based on this email.
we're never
I'd
going
love
to
to.
get them back. Never.
I'd love to, I thought suppressors might have been the easy option. I mean, even if they just,
Yep.
I wouldn't want to, but even if they just stamped them, registered them, put a serial number on them, we can still have them. I mean, surely that's got to be a win. At least get them, then worry about the rest of the stuff down the track about having to register them. I don't know why you'd register a suppressor, but if that's what they required, I'd rather do that than get them than not get them,
Well, this was going to be probably out of all the fights. Forget about semi-autos. We're never going to see them. Pointless. No one's going to fight for that, and no politician, especially while John Howard's still got his hand in the pie. It's not going to happen. So I think the suppressor issue will be the one to fight for, and probably the most likely, because there's so much data out there for how much safer it is to people's hearing. Basically, it's a health and safety issue. And that's the angle they should be taking. And I don't understand why these organisations haven't taken this up years ago and pushed that, because there's so much data and so much paperwork out there in our favour. It's basically written all up for them.
I mean, you got to think about this, right? In one and a bit more years, that's a quarter of a century we've done absolutely nothing in regards to gun laws. A quarter of a century. I mean, you might even say, and I hate to say, it's just indentured in stone now. It's marked in stone. There's no chance of getting anything or any of these ever again if we can't achieve anything in 25 years. Not even the smallest things. No. It's just. I really hope I'm wrong, guys, but like I said, legal action is the only way. Like Aaron was mentioning on the recent show, and I might even try and get in contact with them, because I think that'd probably be an interesting show. GOSA, Gun Owners of South Africa. Yeah. Where as soon as something happens, mate, they're straight into court, mate. 24 hours they're lodging paper, 48 hours they're lodging paperwork for injunctions against these gun laws. And I spoke to a guy from New Zealand, and he said too, GOSA. He goes, oh mate, the government's scared of GOSA, Gun Owners of South Africa. They know as soon as they put something in, bang, they're in court fighting it, bang, straight away, no question. 48 hours they've lodged paperwork to put an injunction to stop it.
And I was actually talking to a guy from South Africa the other day about it all. Sent me a message saying, shame your organisations are absolutely useless. Over here, man, they've stopped trying to bring in gun laws now because they know it's a waste of time and money, because they're in court continuously. And they just now realise it's pointless. And they've actually loosened up their gun laws in South Africa. It's actually, they've gotten stuff back.
And they got everything too. I mean, people find it interesting. They've got to wait for a licence. That takes a fair while. Even sometimes upwards of 10 or almost 10 months, especially when they've got to get new barrels and things like that. But when you have these guns, suppressors, for semi-autos, everything goes. No magazine limits, concealed carry as well. I was talking to Pete Skeet from Impact Shooting when I did a show with him, and he goes, I carry a Glock 9mm. So they've got concealed carry and everything. But, like anything, he goes, if you're going to use it, you've got to make sure you're justified in using it. Otherwise, you're probably going to go to prison for a long time. But at least you've got the option there. So they've got really lax gun laws. The process is long, but, once they've got it,
you got it.
Gun laws are pretty much awesome over there. No magazine limits, tricked out AR-15s, the whole kit and caboodle.
And they used to have quite a bit of gun control over there. And their organisations fought and got a lot of it reversed.
Let's hope ours do. If we can leave this on a positive, I'm really hoping one day one of our organisations, other than the National Shooting Council, but one of the bigger ones,
step up.
I'm hoping. I'm
exactly.
hoping. I could be wrong, but I'm hoping.
Yeah, me too. So guys, just subscribe to the channel and hit that like button and lay a comment. Tell us what you think about suppressors. Have you used them? Would you use them? And where would you use them? And how would you use them? And what rifles would you use them on? Just let's start a conversation about this. And stay safe, guys. And
let me say one thing. I wanted to add in too, also what you guys think. Do you think legal action is the way forward? Let us know in the comments. What do you think the way forward is? If letter writing and petitions don't work, what do you think? Do you think it's on the money? Because what do you think other than legal action would work? Because we know advocacy doesn't work. We know that. We've seen that. 25 years almost, no gun law changes of any kind, especially anything, not even anything significant, let alone anything small. So what do you think the way forward is? I think legal action, but do you guys think the same thing? And would you be willing to pay an extra couple of dollars for your memberships to have that legal action? If we had these organisations $5 extra on a membership, which would be, a couple of these organisations have got hundreds of thousands of members. That could be tens of millions in fighting funds. What do you think?
Yep, exactly. Get down in the comments section and tell us what you think. And stay safe, guys, and have a good week. Talk to you later.